right, let's bring in my panel. Pauline Hanson's Chief of Staff, James Ashby, and Liberal Senator Alex Antic. Well, let's start with cost of living, because that was what propelled former President Donald Trump back into the White House last night. This is bad news, James, for a Prime Minister here, because he's got no record to run on in terms of cost of living, and he's no longer seen as the battler anymore, is he?
No, far from it, especially with private jets and upgrades to most of his flights that he's taken across his time as a politician. This is a bloke that would rather cosy up to sports stars and get his selfie taken with all these celebrities, but he's missing the very fact that when he's doing that, he doesn't have an opportunity to talk to the average person out there on the street who would quite literally tell him they're not doing it that well. So, look, I hope there's a shift between now and the election. Take a leaf out of Pauline Hanson's book, come, jump in a car, travel the states and make sure that you're speaking to people on the ground, because only then you'll find out how badly Australians are truly doing it.
Now, I want to pull apart this tweet that was put out today from former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer. This will come to you, to Senator Antic, but I think it bears careful reading. The groups that Harris did best with tell you why the Democrats have big problems. He says rich people went from +5 for Biden to +8 for Harris. The rich are the only group that she actually improved with. Those who never go to religious services, well, they were a +26 for Harris. Those who say they have no religion, they were a +40 for Harris. College grads, a +8. Anyone with a postgraduate degree, well, they were a +24 for her, meaning the base is now college-educated, rich and non-religious people. Any wonder they're losing the Hispanics and working-class voters. They're seen as elitist and out of touch. This is what he said. Is not wrong, is he, Senator?
No, Peter, he's not wrong at all, and that wouldn't have been a particularly inaccurate assessment in 2016 either. I mean, I think it's extraordinary that most of the media, that most of the political class and the pollsters got this one wrong again. I mean, from where I sat, this was as plain as the nose on your face. He had enormous energy in the campaign. He was drawing huge crowds. And he was touching those points that you just raised there about people's concerns with cost of living. Really, what Trump did was fill the void of the old Democrat Party. I mean, he ended up polling very strongly through the old Rust Belt, again, places like Allentown in Pennsylvania. And that is a lesson for the right here in Australia. I mean, the Labor Party in this country has deserted the workers. There is no question about that. And Peter Dutton, I think, is doing a good job talking to people on the cost of living issues. I'll also say the other thing that's interesting about this election was the overwhelming response from Gen X, my generation, to Donald Trump. Very high support rates for him there, which I think reflects largely people like me that can remember the good times, the 1980s and 90s with some degree, and also people who are listening to the alternative media. He really hit that angle well with podcasts and alternative media. There are some enormous lessons that need to be learned here.
I don't want to miss this issue at home, James Ashby. In Victoria, Mount Arapiles, world famous, loved by rock climbers, and there's quite a significant local tourism industry that's been built up as a result. The state government in Victoria, they are banning anyone now from accessing a good part of the park. They say cultural heritage is all behind this move, but locals say there's been no transparency and no consultation.
No, and the same problems happen in New South Wales with Mount Walker, which is just over the border from Queensland. We've seen it with Ayers Rock, the shutdown of the climb. And just this week, we've had Youngla, which is a lovely little spot. Next time you're in Queensland, come and visit it, because we've got the largest platypus population up there. Aboriginals have decided to take it upon themselves to shut down a gazetted road and access to a waterhole because they don't like the people that are going there. This is happening all too often. As you say, no consultation. People are rightly upset. And this is our way of getting away from city life and sort of just taking a breather. Some of these locations are not just culturally important to Aboriginals, but I tell you what, they do wonders for all of us when we go and visit them. So they shouldn't be shut down. Enough's enough. We said no in October. Albo, here's your chance. Stand up and say, well, we reject these closures as well.
Alex, a new study is out that says carbon emissions from private jets has gone up by nearly 50%. The number of flights peaked ahead of the UN climate conference in December. your state of South Australia wants to have a UN talkfest there in a couple of years' time. You know, hypocrisy, your name is a private jet owner.
It really is, Peter. And of course, we see those private jets popping up every global elite event, the World Cup, Davos, COP28 or whatever it is, you name it. And yeah, look, the state government here, of course, is trying to attract that global glitterati crowd because that's what the Malinowskis government loves doing. It should be a campaign slogan of bread and circuses in this state. That's all we get, golf tournaments, racing car events. But, you know, if they were really serious, we'd open up our natural resources and drill, baby, drill.
Got to leave it there, gents. See you both next week.